Hello, YouTube Orbidians. It's Uncle Nalls with my Nalls hat, made entirely out of duct tape by Katie. Wasn't that kind? You know, you never forget your first love, and you never forget the person that turned you on to a new social media platform or video platform. And I can still recall walking into the offices of Derek Lorraine at Local Wisdom and saying, hey, I want to share my videos. What do you think? And he mentioned YouTube. I can still remember when Charles Trippy first used the word Twitter and turned me onto it. And yesterday I was at a YouTube meeting in New York City with partners and speaking on a panel about online video. And this little fella here, Bradman TV, he's on Encyclopedia Dramatica. And he's always on television because he does, you know, calls and breaks up with people. But he turned me on to Vidi. And so I thought, well, that's a good impetus for me to pull out my new Stick of Doom and pound into you some new platforms that are even more interesting for mobile viewing and uploading. Now, you're well aware that YouTube allows mobile uploads, but it's a little bit kludgy. So he turns me on to Vidi, which allows you to only do a 15-second video a la Instagram, if you're familiar with that, which is tied to Postagram, which means you can, for $1, send a postcard of a picture. I really like that. Vidi is one of 3 that I'm aware of, and maybe you're aware of more. Vidi's strength is that you can put some filters on it, and it caps you to 15 seconds, which I kind of like. The downside is that sharing's not so easy. Can't video reply. So there's still some things they need to work out. A new one that's for beta only by Paul Robinette-Renetto, who did that really cool My YouTube app that I still use to be able to find specific YouTubers. His app is called, he's terrible at branding, Glimpse, G-L-M-P-S. And I haven't tried it out yet, but Pipistrello showed me an example, and it records about, I don't know, like 10 seconds of video and then a picture, which I think is a cool little model. If you're sharing pictures, why not share a few seconds that lead up to it and you could talk about it. Pippi says the only downside there is that the resolution of the final photo is not as good as it could be, so maybe that's something they could work out. And then the one that's been out for a long time, but now I discovered has a pretty cool app, is TwitVid. And those folks reached out to me years ago, so I'm back experimenting with TwitVid. I think ultimately that mobile sharing, at least for the interim, is best done in a different way, both in the way you consume and the way you share stories. I wouldn't put long video like this up for typical mobile viewing, but if you're mobily inclined, and I'm using iPhones, so I don't know if these things work as well, but all 3 of these apps are Glimpse, allegedly, and from my own experience, Vidi, V-I-D-D-Y, and TwitVid work pretty well with the iPhone so that it's not a complicated experience. And Vidi allows you to push to YouTube, so you can, you know, use Vidi to enable your YouTube channel if you want. But it also allows you to follow people and have followers. And I kind of like the notion of getting into a new medium where it's not as crowded. So there is your advice, and here is my skull Stick of Doom. Have a darn good Friday.